Today we're continuing in the story of Balaam. I'll read Numbers 22, verses 30 and 31. The donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your own donkey, which you have always ridden to this day? Have I been in the habit of doing this to you?" "No," he said. And then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with his sword drawn. So he bowed low and fell face down. As we've followed the story of Balaam, we've seen the man brought lower and lower, humbled one step at a time by God, using his most humble creature of all, a donkey. Each time the angel of the Lord appears to block the path ahead. Despite his international reputation as a man who sees God, Balaam doesn't see the angel, but the donkey does and responds. Balaam first suffers the indignity of losing control of his donkey as she bolts off the path and into a field, and then the frustration of having his leg crushed against a wall. And finally, the embarrassment of his donkey sitting down beneath him on the road. Now he's in an argument with a talking donkey, and he's losing. The donkey makes a really good point. Have I been in the habit of doing this to you? In other words, I've been trying to save you from God's powerful representative with a sword. I can't believe you can't see there's an angel blocking the path. Haven't you considered that maybe there's something else going on here today? All Balaam says is, no. It's only now that Balaam sees the angel standing in the road with the sword drawn. Now the words from his donkey sink in, and a proud man is humbled. He finally realizes what's been going on, and he drops face down to the dusty road. Humility is highly prized in the Bible. God values it very much. Even though he was one with God, Jesus embodied humility. Humility. It makes sense, of course, because in front of God, anything other than humble looks ridiculous. As ridiculous as an argument with a donkey. In our culture, we hear the word humble used wrongly so often we might forget what it means. For instance, someone receiving an award or some great praise will often say how humbling it is. But no, that's the opposite. That feeling is usually proud. Being thrown off a donkey into the dust, that's humbling. Losing is humbling. Realizing you've been a fool is humbling. Discovering your mistakes is humbling. Having to ask for help is humbling. We should value God's acts of humiliation. Balaam had been through the bushes, crushed his leg. He was breathless from beating his donkey, fighting God all the way. But Balaam had never been closer to being right with God than when he found himself in the dust at the feet of the angel, next to the donkey that's just saved his life and spoken God's wisdom to him. Balaam was closest to God when he was humbled. Now, while Balaam was proud against God, as Christians speaking to the world, it can be a bit too easy to become proud for God as well. As C.S. Lewis said it well, God has shown he can use any instrument. Balaam's ass, you remember, preached a very effective sermon in the midst of his hee-haws. Being proud for God is as bad, or maybe worse, as being proud against God. So today, reflect on Balaam and his talking donkey. Who are we? Are we face down at the feet of our Lord, or are we being ridiculous? Amen.